Gabriel Medina and Julian Wilson, it's one of the best matchups in the game. A long-time rivalry that kicked off with a final back in 2011 when these guys looked like little kids fighting for the podium. Medina took that first final, and they've been rivals ever since, pushing each other in the world title race. Gabriel Medina officially clinched by getting himself into this final, passing Jordy Smith to get his second world title. And it had a little bit of time in between. De Souza won the year after that first title back in 2014. Obviously, John Florence taking the glory for a couple of years there and finally back on top. Still just 24. He'll be turning 25 in a few days. So Medina has got to be proud of what he's accomplished in a short period of time. Kicking off to start off this final is Julian Wilson in the barrel of backdoor. Small tube on the inside, but it will just get that momentum going.
Yeah, that's what he's got to do, just trying to apply some pressure, but we've seen everyone have a quick start on Gabriel Medina. Started with Connor. Connor Coffin got some absolute screamers to put Medina against the ropes. Medina answered back with massive scores. Jordy Smith did exactly the same. Started the heat really well. Medina fought his way back. Wilson off for that first wave, and now leaves Medina out the back to try and answer back. Beautiful little nuggy, and a nice little tube ride there for Julian Wilson.
So a great way to kick things off in the final heat of 2018, as we already have 33 minutes remaining. This will be it for the last stop. Jeremy Flores won last year. He loved being the last champ at the end of the season because there's a big offseason to think about. Who won the last event on tour, especially the Pipe Masters. Wilson trying to join that same company that Jeremy's in as a multiple-time Pipe Master. It's been a while also since that final in 2014. It's so interesting at that point of Julian's career, he was thinking about re-qualifying before the Vans Triple Crown started.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing how quick things can change around. You know, one good result really gets that ball rolling for you, gets that momentum happening. And, you know, it's for Medina, I thought it was Tahiti where things clicked for him. Ended up winning that and got himself well and truly into the world title race.
So many great stories. Medina's trying to put one up there for the Goofy Foots at Pipe. It's been since Rob Machado won in 2000. The surfer with the right foot forward took out a win here. Jeremy Flores got his first title out here in 2010 over Kieran Perot. Kieran got it the next season. The year Taj won was a final with Kelly. Kelly winning his 6th out of 7 Pipe Master title in 2008. Incredible what's happened in the last decade at Pipe. Great view from the sky. Looking at the conditions for the final, anything different from what we started off with today, Ponce?
I think that wind is a little bit stronger, but apart from that, I mean, conditions have held up fantastically through the day. We've seen a healthy mix of both lefts and rights. Pipe has been pumping. We've seen big scores. Backdoor absolutely on fire today. Medina with a perfect 10 at backdoor. On the backhand, mind you, so it's been an unbelievable day. I'm pretty tired by now.
There's so much to take in. Mendez taking out the Vans Triple Crown. That was a big one for Jesse. Medina the first to win that title for Brazil. Jesse the second. Those two longtime rivals. De Souza the first to win the Pipe Masters for Brazil. Medina looking to be the second. Here we go. It's Medina's first wave of the final. Super deep at Pipe and comes out. Unbelievable exit.
You know, when you watch someone have an incredible heat.
Next one for Wilson, knifing the takeoff into a pretty radical part of the wave. Putting so much commitment into that drop. And he took a big beating on that one. That section went wide and landed right on the Australian.
Yeah, that was a crazy wipe out there from Julian. Let's have a look at Medina there. Goes off a little bit of a ledge, pulls into the barrel, comes out nice and clean. And again, let's have a look. This is the view the judges get, so nice and deep. Comes out with the spit. About as deep as you could have got on that section, Joe. And then Julian just trying to bottom turn under the lip there, unfortunately getting caught and goes down. Heavy wipe out there for Julian Wilson. But just talking about that 19.44 heat that Gabriel Medina had. Normally when a surfer has a heat like that, it's really hard for him to come back and produce you know, good surfing again. And Medina just seems to do it over and over and over again. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
That was such a great performance against Connor Coffin, and Connor started off in such an incredible way, just lining up those rights at backdoor. Everyone's thinking spoiler roll, here it comes. And Medina, when he's pushed like that just a bit, he'll give you just a little bit more. Pipeline barrel to front side air, that's that modern day act. And then he's got to be the best goofy foot at backdoor when it's firing. How much room he appears to have. He can see everything happening, and that came into the perfect 10.
Yeah, well, that was incredible. I mean, that thing was wide open, but he had to hunt it down, Joe. It didn't just fall into his lap. You know, you always talk about having a little bit of luck go your way, and that was gave him just enough time to get himself in position, and a massive score followed. Talking about massive scores, wave number 1 for Gabriel Medina.
8.43 for Medina to go straight into first. Wilson on the next one ate it with the lip hitting on him on the head. Lost priority there, so Medina definitely in the driver's seat, kicking off with such a big number. Remember what Gabriel did after clinching the title in 2014. He just went on this freestyle effort to go all the way to the final with Julian, catching everything from rights to lefts, moving around in the lineup. Medina probably moves just as much on this reef when you compare it to the approach to Kelly Slater.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Medina looks just as comfortable here as Kelly does. I mean, he's got that ability to really operate underneath the priority, which is, we've always talked about that, where Medina's way more dangerous without priority. And that's what Kelly's like out here as well. You know, you heard Shane Dorian talk about it, you know, that ability just to sit inside and really cherry pick some good waves underneath the priority of their opponents, put the pressure on straight away. Medina's, he's a beast when it comes to that.
Well, there's Charlie enjoying the action, joined by Neil Ridgway, as they are just celebrating today's action, still eyeing on the final prize of taking out a Pipe Master. That's still something Medina wants in his trophy case. We talked about that early final that Julian lost in 2011, and then it just took another season on tour for Julian to get payback. It was a close decision in Peniche when Julian won his first event. Then the battles continued. Jay Bay, they've had some heats. Julian got him there. More recently this year, 2018, they had the one matchup in France that Julian got past Medina in the semifinal to go on to take the victory over Ryan Callanan.
Yeah, that was a crazy heat. Julian producing some pretty crazy backside rotations. So yeah, I think we're in for some crazy rivalry over the next few years from these two.
The Tahiti final, maybe one of the most aggressive showings when Julian was able to turn around that final, being comboed 90 seconds, back-to-back waves to steal it off Medina. So many great highlights with these two. Gabriel getting payback on Julian at Portugal, having another rematch of that final. It just goes on and on. This is that dream matchup here in modern day times in the world of surfing.
It's only just started.
And it just makes sense that they're both number 1 and 2 in the world to finish off the year. Paddling for this one, Medina wants it a backdoor pipeline. Making 2 sections with ease. Timing the spit well. Flies out of that one like a cannon. Already has a big 8.43. The momentum of having a second world title. Medina is going to be tough to beat in this final.
He is. You know, we always try and pick the weaknesses when it comes to Gabriel Medina. Where would you like to get him? What kind of waves would you like to surf against him in, you know? And basically none. I mean, this guy doesn't have a weakness. There is no chink in his armor. He's incredible on his backhand. Incredible tube rider both on his backhand and front side. He charges in big waves. He's got the air game second to none. He's an incredible competitor. You know, he plays the game at a super high level. You know, this is his second world title. I think there's going to be many, many more to come. And, well, he's not finished yet. We've still got this Pipe Masters on the line.
How is the pace of the wave different when you really compare backdoor versus pipeline punts?
Well, backdoor, I mean, especially on a day like today where it's a bit more north in the swell, you know, maybe a little harder to read the tempo of the wave. Pipeline on a swell like this is real short, so you've got to take off and try and, you know, really dig in and get a quick barrel, whereas backdoor you can spend a little bit more time behind the section. You know, obviously backdoor a little quicker on days like today. Pipeline a little shorter on days like today.
Well, interesting, when you talk about surfers by region, the Hawaiians completely dominate the Vans Triple Crown for many, many years. When it comes to this event specifically, Hawaii and Australia are tied with 16 Pipe Masters titles. As we get back to Julian Wilson. Great positioning at Pipeline, who gets spit out. Going into a backhand, full rotation over the roof. Just to throw down the finishing move.
Oh, wow. I love that. He's doing a Medina on Medina. Barrel to air combo. It's going to be his best score, Joe.
And he knew that he just needed to nail that finishing move. It was aggressive, it was radical. Let's take another look.
And it was a late drop as well. Grabs the rail, leaning forward, pulls in, comes out with the spit. And then combos it up with a beautiful little backside rotator. Medina kind of forced him into that wave, but I think Julian was going to go anyway. And then finished nicely, landed on the roof. Good rotation. Crowd are absolutely eating it up today. They love it.
Incredible just to have the wherewithal to see that end section. That wasn't an easy ramp, but with Wilson's skill set to huck himself in the flats, he was going to land that thing all day long. Did huge full rotations like that to take over the podium in France, but it's a little bit different when you're doing it over the shallow reef and Pipeline. Section's so much bigger. You have so little room for error, and he's going to be right back in this final. Remember, Medina started with the 8.43. Wilson in with a 7.93. 23 and a half to go.
Yeah, 7.93, great score, but he's going to need more. Medina with an 8.43, so you figure his backup, well, he's only looking for a 6.68 now. And with what Medina's been doing today, well, it's pretty easy.
So looking like Medina still out front, 8.43, 6.17, but Wilson fighting back with a backhand barrel, the full rotation reverse. 23 minutes to go in 2018. Back for more after this at Pipeline. The Billabong Pipe Masters is brought to you by Billabong, the official apparel of the Billabong Pipe Masters. By Jeep, the official vehicle of the championship tour. By Michelob Ultra, the official beer of the World Surf League. By Vans, the official clothing and footwear of the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing. And by Facebook Camera Effects. Check them out on the World Surf League Facebook page now. Let's flash back to 2014. Wilson and Medina in the final. Medina already the world champ. And all of a sudden, Wilson found himself taking out the Triple Crown and getting blown out of barrels. Exchange after exchange. And Wilson called this day the best day of his career at the time.
Well, when you're taking down someone like Gabriel Medina at Pipeline, it's got to be a great day to win this event. One of the toughest events on tour. It is the Gladiator Pit. It is the Coliseum of professional surfing. And Medina, no slouch, one of the best out here, that's for sure. So to get a win over Gabriel Medina and for Julian to get himself back on track, because that's what this event did, Joe. Even bigger than just the event win. It's got him back on track, and here he is today.
Sections of backdoor were massive for Jules. He was feeling the moment, and Medina had a comeback effort at Pipeline where he snuck out an impossible exit. Came out high above the double up, and Wilson was able to get the decision on the sand. When we tried to interview him after, his face was covered with sand. He fell. He felt weightless. He couldn't even feel his body, and it clearly was the best day of his life.
Nothing like winning, mate. It's why these guys do it. It's why they sacrifice so much. It's why they train so hard. It's in their blood, and once all that hard work comes to fruition, you realize that you've accomplished your dreams. It's nothing like it.
Amazing matchup. During the break, Medina went backdoor.
Yeah, well, have a look at this. Gabriel Medina just styling his way through yet another good wave, taking off behind the peak. Now, that's the whole reason of backdoor. You backdoor the section, come from behind. You basically take off the Pipeline and drive through that tube ride. And Gabriel Medina has done that to great success and another good score.
7.6 for Medina. Lead building against Julian Wilson. Julian now needing an 8.11. Here he goes. The Australian delayed bottom turn, setting up the big pitted backdoor. Beats the first section. Second one's going to let him out.
Wow.
Julian Wilson fired up on adrenaline to battle with his longtime rival Potts. This is incredible.
Imagine if the world title came down to this heat. That's what I want to see. How good would that be? I mean, you know, great that Medina's got the world title under his belt, but this is the kind of the matchup that we want for our sport, to come down to the final, to have two warriors going for it, to win the world title. But Julian Wilson, he's not backing down at all, and it's going to be another good score for him. Pulls up just under the lip there. That was incredible stuff for Wilson. And then a bonus section comes flying out of that one. That was super technical. Watch how high up the face of the wave he goes, Joe. Comes off the bottom, gets clipped just a little bit, shoves him really high in the barrel, renegotiates that section, and then gets the bonus at the end. So incredible stuff there from Julian Wilson. This is why this guy's a putt master. This is why he's regarded as one of the best tube riders in the world.
So incredible, his ability to recover that line on that first section, to come down and get the completion, which kind of brings you back to the perfect line to get spit out, or how do you score a brilliant recovery like Julian just had?
Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't fall off, right? So it wasn't, you couldn't really call it a recovery. I think it was just readjusting, you know, working on pure instinct of you know, reading the wave. And Julian's really good at that. I mean, that wave clipped him a little bit, shoved him high up the face, and he managed to renegotiate, draw that line, set that rail again, and drive through the tube. So incredible stuff there from Wilson.
Covered so much of the barrel to fight for the completion when the second section was trying to take him down. Wilson persevered for the exit. Waz, I'm sure your angle was incredible.
It was. You know what was really incredible was the way that he waited for the wave, caddying out the back with Medina. Then the wave loaded up. He literally waited for it and then two paddled into it. I'd be stroking my, hardest to get down the face and into that thing. He waited for it, made the dramatic bottom turn into the corner. I mean, absolutely knifing it. So beautiful work there. The timing was epic, and the poise to wait for a wave like that, to load up, to make it dramatic and get yourself under the hood right away. That just takes crazy skill and timing.
Thank you, Strider. As we saw the angle that you had inside the pit, he got so high, almost getting chucked over the falls, but Wilson, that subtle adjustment, earns him the 8.77.
Yeah, well-deserved 8.77. 3 judges threw 9s at it. That's kind of my ballpark. I thought that was definitely worth the 9 points. But yeah, just the ability to readjust, reset the line, and not give up on it, and I think that's the hard part. I mean, he could have easily have got sucked too far up and gone up and over the falls, but Wilson, I mean, he's just, he's on fire here today.
16:20 to go. Wilson saving himself in the title race by winning France. It all went down today. He did what he had to do and made the final, but also Medina is getting spit out again at backdoor. A lot of hi-fi action in this matchup, going blow for blow, just like all of their finals go down. It always comes down to a close decision. They give us their heart every time they compete. Let's see what happened on the takeoff.
Yeah, Gabriel grabs the rail, pulls up, drives through that section, and then comes out nice and clean. 8.28 required, Joe. Nice and deep on the reef as well. And again, just, not just sticking to one line through the barrel, having to readjust all the way through it. Gabriel Medina comes out. Is that going to be an 8.28? Is that, well, it's kind of got to be in the ballpark of his wave number 1, which is an 8.43. The 8.43 just a little bit better, so we'll have to wait and see. Are we going to see another lead change with 15 minutes and 20 remaining?
Well, it's interesting on the beach. You've got the Medina camp and all the Brazilians that traveled so far to be here. There's a lot of locals that live here that are from Brazil originally, backing him in this final. They're throwing big scores at that already. But judges upstairs, they make comparisons. They compare it to Julian's last and then make a decision. Julian had an 8.77 on his wave at backdoor. He went high, beat that section on the inside. Julian's mom, Nola, there with all the flags still cheering on her son in this final. Well, the decision is a match. Medina's last, 8.77, just like Julian's last wave. It's enough to take the lead. Now Wilson needs an 8.43 to get the lead back.
Wow, I mean, that's crazy. Two completely different waves, ridden completely different, one backhand, one front side. They both came out with the same scores, 8.77, so Medina back into the lead Julian now needing an 8.43, Joe. Big sets coming through out the back, and Julian with priority. So plenty of time remaining. I think we're going to see a few lead changes before this thing's over.
I wish we could give this final another couple of hours, because it is on between these two. Serious rivals in the jersey. Taken off last minute. Wilson knifes it. Unable to pull in. So he's going to have to wait for another opportunity to answer. It's interesting how deadly Medina is with priority. Even with 13:45 on the clock, he can usually just suffocate competitors with a lead like this.
Well, he basically sold Julian on that last wave. Julian had priority. Medina made an effort towards it and showed some interest. And that's the Medina factor, kind of like the Kelly factor, where you almost can't let him go no matter what. You've got to use that priority and roll the dice on him maybe making a mistake with his priority, because he's the kind of guy that can turn an average wave into a big score.
8-7-7 for both these guys as their high mark in this seat. There's 5 judges on. You drop the high and the low, and each judge had a different opinion on the exchange. Just when you drop the high and the low, you see that average come out exactly the same sometimes. Judge number 5 went Medina 8-8 on Julian, went 8-3. So there's a difference there. Some thought Julian's was better, so Wilson could go up to certain judges saying, hey, I favored you on the exchange. A split panel to decide that one.
Yeah.
And just really rewarding the art of being on the backhand and backdoor, and Julian making multiple sections in a pretty radical way. Medina now joins a pretty elite class of world champions with 2 world titles, 11 event wins to his name, 339 plus CT heats surfed, with over a 65% winning percentage in his amazing career. Qualified, and he was still just 17, winning those first 2 events. The first one in France over Julian. His second win was over Joel Parkinson in San Francisco. Those last couple of wins this year he had Tahiti and also the Surf Ranch Pro. It was incredible to see his form, and just always showing why he's a brilliant back half of the year. Now 2 world titles, so joining some of the great company with Tommy Carroll, Damian Harbin, and now John Florence.
Yeah, multiple winners. Never quite got there myself, but yeah, it just takes a different kind of competitive beast to be able to do that. Keep reinventing yourself, coming back bigger and stronger year after year, and really wanting it, Joe.
But Potts, you had so many heats where I had you winning on paper, so you go back to those close decisions.
Thanks, Joe.
Over the years, yeah. 11:30 in this one.
I might go talk to the judges.
Let's
about
go
that.
talk to him about it.
Renato's still here. Might go and bowl him up against the wall like I did back in the day.
Oh, we love it. I love when you two talk surf. So much great surfing history. Crowning world champs for over 40 years, going back to Peter Townend, taking out that first world title when it was turning into the ASP back then. World Surf League took over that first year. Medina won, and things just get better and better for the sport. You can check out worldsurfleague.com for all the updates that have been happening through a pretty radical day. A lot of drama, even saying goodbye to some top competitors on the top 34. Sometimes you think, okay, it's not goodbye for too long, but the guys that don't requalify, you never know what their plans are for next season.
Yeah, you know, especially if they've been on the tour for a while, and you know that QS to go back on the QS grind is it's pretty gnarly. I mean, you know, you get a little spoiled on the world tour. You know, going to all these magic locations, surfing beautiful waves, to then go back on the QS and grind it out with guys that are really hungry is a tough thing to do. So it takes a special kind of competitor to go through that and get back on the world tour. One
of those special competitors, Keanu Singh, he eats the QS for breakfast. He's already planning on being back 2020. Federico Moraes, he'll be healing up, and he'll be an absolute weapon taking on the major QS 10,000s. We wish all those competitors the best of luck next year in the QS run. Right now, it's 10 minutes to go. The last heat of the year. Wilson needs an 8.43. How are you feeling about the final 10 minutes, Strider?
Oh, are you kidding me? It's been a barrel bonanza out here. A couple of big slabs coming in. Those meat pies that Julian had a lot of girth in them. Medina's been at the churrascaria, though, with his blade just slicing off perfect pieces of meat. It's pretty amazing to watch these guys and how well they surf out here. Unbelievable. Let's see if Julian can take another one away from Gabriel, but Gabriel looking for that elusive pipe, Masters.
I can tell.
It's been amazing this year.
I can tell, Strider, you're starving out there for another exchange. Thinking about what's on offer for Wilson and the role that Medina plays with priority with 9:15 to go. How's Wilson really looking out there?
He looks solid. I mean, this is a battle. We're going to see this go down. Here we go. Gabriel on another one. Big beat hook, just blowing through the barrel. It's amazing out here. Are you kidding me?
And Medina trying to punch free from that inside wall, somehow hangs on. Nothing can take this man down. Time and time again, he comes here to Pipeline to show that he is the most radical surfer in the world. Quarter-finaling Matos and Rookie when everyone was doubting him. Growing up at a wave at Mauritius, that is a slabbing wave where he has worked out the skill set that it takes to dominate the waves of consequence on tour. There's something special about Medina at backdoor. For Goofy Foot, I don't know if anyone can do what he's accomplishing today.
Well, I'm kind of baffled. I mean, that last wave was absolutely incredible. Let's have a look as he takes off, slides in. I love the body position, squares up those shoulders, driving through that next section, keeps going again and again, and then really gets engulfed in whitewater, but somehow manages to stay on his feet and pulls through the back of that. I mean, that is next level stuff there from Gabriel Medina. Have a look at that. I mean, there was a number of moments there where we thought he was going to try and sneak out, but he was looking for more. He wants a massive score. He wants to nail this thing shut.
Just beating all these sections, it just feels like you're watching a superhero just do the impossible. There's a lot of opportunities in that wave for the barrel at backdoor to take him down. But to be able to adjust even in a small space, to go high when he needs to go high and go low, and even when the end section's shutting down, there was no clear exit there, and Medina pulls it off.
So insane, that kind of a messy end of the wave, but an incredible ability to be able to pull that off. How the judge is going to look at that?
Well, you kind of break it down for the bigger barrels he had earlier, but that was a long, stretched out one that had to force him to show how technical he can be with that backhand rail. Making those adjustments, not easy to do, but the length of time in the pit, he's got to be rewarded for that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 6 minutes and 50 remaining. Gabriel Medina with the lead. At this stage, Julian needing an 8.43, Joe. It's going to be a little more after that last wave goes locked in.
Last wave for Gabriel Medina, a 9.57. Julian Wilson now needs a 9.58 to answer with priority and 6:30 remaining. Medina has been dropping some of the biggest scores he's had all season. That 19+ total was just a starting block for Medina on finals day when he threw that down in the quarterfinal with Connor Coffin.
Yeah, what did we work out? Maybe 4 10s this year?
Not too many.
4 or 5 maybe at the most. I think Medina's 10 here, one of the first ones we've seen in this event, but incredible stuff from Gabriel to save his best for last. That's what you got to do. You know, when you look about putting together a successful event, you know, you want to peak in the finals, and then for Gabriel Medina, he's gone even to that next step, that next level where he's peaked at pipe and clinched that world title. So I mean, to be able to do that, to be able to come from having an average start to the year to being crowned world champion is just incredible.
Yeah, the 10s these days, judges just save it for perfection, and you can remember all of them now. Locking in, slamming on the brakes, and getting spit out again under Wilson's priorities, Gabriel Medina. And this is what we're used to, where he just completely takes over. He is feeling like he's on top of the world. The best surfer in 2018 is putting on a show for the fans. Wilson, though, wants to steal that energy back. He made the statement after he realized he lost the world title that he wanted this final bat. Still 5 minutes to come back.
Yeah, well, this is a throwaway for Gabriel Medina, and he's going to just kick out of that one, so that's not going to really change the situation. 8.77 is his backup at the moment. 9.57. He's been just dropping big scores all day, Joe.
And even his throwaways would just be fun to see what they feel like. A couple of 6s he's tossing out, 7-6 he's out of his score line, throwing an 8.43 out of his top 2. What a performance in the final for Gabriel Medina, a 2-time world champ, crowned before this final. And he had a ton of attention on the beach, and we saw how this man just completely changed shape. Gabriel breaks it down as his life before and his life after that first world title, because there are some changes that happened in his life that he had no idea were about to happen.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be the first Brazilian world champion, first South American surfing world champion is huge. You know, he went from relative obscurity in Brazil to being one of the most incredible, you know, followed surf stars, superstars, slash sports stars in the world. So, you know, almost 7 million Instagram followers. That's going to change your life a little bit.
So true. 350 to go in the final. We've seen Medina mature in an incredible amount of time. Coming up short, losing title showdowns at the season finale over the last couple of years, but always putting himself in the hunt. 11 major CT wins, gunning for his first Pipe Masters title and his third appearance in the final at this event. But there's something about the dedication for Julian this year that we can tell he's not giving up. With priority, he just needs a shot. 9.58 will make the difference for Wilson in this heat. The only surfer that picked up wins outside of the Brazilian Storm this year was Julian. And it feels like a changing of the guard with the icons of the sport. Mick Fanning, Parko moving on, Taj Burrow, the guys that were winning events. Now Wilson is kind of taking that throne of representing the next generation. And he wants to take the last win of the season. Let's see his effort here. Wilson locks in a backdoor. Bottom turn straight into a closeout. So waiting for a long time to make a move with priority. And that's not going to give it to him. 2:40 to go.
Yeah, well, you know, that was one of those waves, Joe, that maybe looked okay when you're paddling into it. Kind of straightened up on the reef a little bit, but those are kind of the ways that Kelly looks for and turns them into a score. Now Julian paying for it with a few waves on the head. Time ticking away, 2 minutes and 20 remaining, but Gabriel Medina now with priority and a massive lead, 9.58 required by Wilson.
You think about the role Julian had today on finals day, just having to overcome so much, including the most dangerous spoiler in the game, having Kelly return to the jersey. We saw how that paid out for Felipe and pushed Julian to the bitter end in that heat they just had for a spot at this final. So Wilson giving us a great show, both pipe and backdoor, and just staying calm throughout the whole series. His whole family's been out here with him because he knew this was a monumental finish to what still is his greatest performance battle against the top 34 in his career. Yeah,
I think Julian's got to hold his head high. I think he really has had an incredible year and just got beaten by a guy that's just absolutely on fire. Julian did every single thing that he could have, putting himself in the final and an opportunity to win, but Medina just too strong on the day, Joe.
Setting up the final minute, Medina will use priority to sit inside a hollow pitted pipeline. And the two-time world champ comes flying out. No mistakes in this seat. Every time he pulls in, he's made it. And that's his 7th wave in this final.
Yeah. Incredible strike rate from Gabriel Medina. Are we surprised? Not at all. I mean, this kid is an absolute phenom, and you know, I think he's just found something special this year as well. There he goes, takes off, slides into the barrel, and of course he's going to come out at the end of that one. So Gabriel Medina looking absolutely on fire here today. Scary signs for his opponents going into next year, Joe.
Enjoying that moment with Gabriel Medina, and you think about all the wipeouts Julian had in this heat. He had a few looks that were incomplete, went on a couple waves that he shouldn't have, and just all the energy that you expend in a heat, but also in a title race day on the season finale, and the energy these guys give each other even before the heat starts. They're letting it all hang out. 20 seconds to wrap up 2018. Julian Wilson with priority out the back, left chasing a 9.58. Julian had the lead in all-time matchups against Medina, 5-4, and it looks like it's about to be evened up between these two rivals. Backflip to finish off the season. Gabriel Medina, your two-time world champ, and your 2018 Billabong Pipe Master. In loving memory of Andy Irons, we've got Medina taking the throne of the most prestigious event on the calendar.
Well, you know, you get crowned world champion after semi-final action. Why not go on and win the Pipe Masters? I mean, he was not going to be denied today. Just such a solid performance from the get-go. You know, everyone threw so much at him at the beginning of his heats. he just managed to come back. He stayed calm, he stayed true to himself, his game, and came out on top. So just an incredible day of surfing, and well deserved for Gabriel Medina.
Gabriel Medina joining Adriano de Souza for wins at Pipe for Brazil. Both world champions. Medina, a multiple world champion today. Incredible performance through all the rounds, as we talked about, getting high 10s when his opponents really pushed him. At Pipe and backdoor, he's incredible, including his high numbers. Going right, 9.57 was the big number in the final.
Yeah, you know, and that's massive. I mean, after to you know, drop a 10 and a 9.45 earlier in the day, then to come back and still have big scores left in the tank. You know, this is the kind of place that really does take a lot of energy out of you. Each wipeout kind of expends a certain amount of energy, but Gabriel Medina has done all the hard work, he's made all the sacrifice, and these are the spoils right here.
And now watching Gabriel Medina here on December 17th, 2:40 in the afternoon here on the North Shore of Oahu. Remembering this day in history happening right now in front of us. It's two-time world champ, now taking out the Pipe Masters trophy, one he felt he deserved in that final back in 2014. Getting the matchup with number 1 and number 2 in the world. That's what you always want, Potts.
Yep.
We got that treat at the end. It definitely was Medina's day, Medina's season, as he is now taking over a lot of the record books in pro surfing history.
He's only just started.
Gabriel Medina getting hoisted up all the way to the podium. The year that de Souza won the world title, Medina won the Triple Crown. This year it's Jesse Mendez taking out the Vans Triple Crown of surfing title. In an incredible year for Brazil. Have to hand it to Felipe Toledo again for really pushing the title race as well. And also the wins from Italo Ferreira that were so impressive. Still with 3 wins this year, so matching Medina now for 3 wins at the end of 2018. William Cardoso winning an event as a rookie this year. As Medina walks up with his brother Felipe there to begin the celebrations. He's now doing it for the 2nd time, Potts, at a different age, 24. He'll be 25 in just a few days. And I think he really appreciates this moment more than ever, since that first world title probably felt like a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of water under the bridge since then, a lot of hard work, and just to reinvent yourself, get yourself back on track and work it out. You know, he went away, did a lot of training, got really big. He's kind of slimmed back down again. He's absolutely looks as fit as a fiddle, and everything is just clicking into place for Gabriel Medina.
Destiny for Gabriel Medina. He's always a pick to win every venue on tour. Always a guy that you expect to be the world champion with all the weapons that he has. It seems strange when he doesn't get a hold of the lead early, and that's why when he's not winning events in the first half, you're wondering what's going down. A special treat watching these 2 warriors getting celebrated today. Gabriel Medina on top of the world, and Julian Wilson fighting to the finish. Knew he had to make the final, and he has to be proud of what he did today.
Yeah, well, he did everything he could, Joe. Ticked all the boxes, that's for sure. Got himself in a winning position, but his opponent just too strong on the day. And, you know, Julian's got to feel comfortable, feel confident with where he's at right now. I think he's in the best place he's been. I think he's surfing as good as he ever has. You know, way more consistent through the year, and I think, you know, you've got a couple of those wins with solid results to come out on top at the end.
So true, Potts. Medina with a special moment with his mom. Definitely his loudest friend, if not his biggest fan in the world. It's been fun getting to know her over the years. First met her, she didn't know English. Now she speaks English perfectly. Shares her passion for the sport of surfing. Gabriel's little sister's already winning major events around the world, creating this Medina dynasty. Let's now talk to the Pipe Master and the 2-time world champ. Medina's with Rosie Hodge.
What a beautiful moment. Gabriel Medina has clinched his second world title in 2018, but Gabriel Medina, on top of getting your second world title, you are also a pop master. How does that sit with you?
Yeah, this is an honor, you know. All my big heroes won this contest. I'm just stoked to be part of everything. Wow. Yeah, Pipe Master is a little different, you know. Yeah, I really want that one, and I worked really hard to do that. And I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
Sharing the final with Julian Wilson. Obviously, it came down to you two for the world title. That's also got to make it feel so sweet.
Yeah, that was a good final. Julian is, I think, the toughest competitor to go with, you know. And yeah, I'm happy to. We are having just like a free surf, you know. The best is gonna win. And lucky I got two good ones, and then. Yeah, backdoor was really fun, and I'm happy, you know. He won a final against me a couple years ago, and now I got this one. Just feel great to be the Pipe Master winner, you know. It's so good.
And on top of that, you have the most amazing fans and support. Brazil has come up, set the standard really high for the way that they support you. You have to feel appreciation for that.
Yeah, I really appreciate everyone that came down to watch us. So stoked we put a great show, you know, so everyone got to watch. And yeah, I'm just happy to be part of the history, you know. Yeah, that was a lot of work.
We've got people chanting in Portuguese. What are they saying?
I'm Brazilian and I'm really proud.
That they can be so proud of Gabriel Medina. He is your world champ as well as your Pipe Master. We'll be wrapping up this whole season on the WSL Post Show. Stay with us.
Do you like that? Well, if so, subscribe over there and then watch more videos over there. And then tell us your favorite videos down there. It's a 3-step process. Do them all now.